Julie Zemer, Technical Service Manager with FMC here in Nebraska and Colorado. And with me,
Gail Stratman. I'm the Regional Technical Manager here across the Midwest and the Northern Plains with FMC.
Yeah, so today we're going to talk about a little bit about European corn borer. This is a pest that a lot of people have pushed to the side in recent years due to control with Bt traits. However, we do have a lot of non-GMO acres and some spots where maybe some of those traits aren't doing as good of a job in the past. Gail, do you want to tell us a little bit about this pest?
Yeah, European corn borer has been traditionally a damaging pest in the Midwestern corn production for decades, but the traits have really eliminated a lot of that competition. Well, now we're seeing where they're having some issues in parts of the U.S. with resistance, but really on our non-GMO hybrids, the populations have come up where we really need to scout and treat. And so we're dealing with two generations of this insect pest in the season. A first generation that generally occurs when our corn is about waist to chest high, in that vegetative stage, and it lays its eggs, and then it burrows down into the whorl and gets in the stalk and really causes a lot of damage. It's probably the most damaging stage of a European corn borer. Then we get a second generation, which happens later in the season, generally after the corn is tasseled. That also can cause problems. They bore into the stalk. We have ear loss. They bore into the shank. We have a lot of corn that falls down before harvest, and so extremely damaging pest if we're not managing it from both the first and second generation. So if we have non-GMO hybrids, we're really looking at managing both those populations separate. A first generation, again, treating it when that corn is in the vegetative stage. A second application for second generation after tassel.
Yeah, for sure, Gail. I think we made that clear point where there's going to be two generations, and especially for some of those premium crops, having two applications is going to be a necessary piece of that management practice. We want to talk about control methods and chemical control practices.
Yeah.
What are some considerations? FMC obviously has a great lineup of insecticides for this pest, but what are some considerations per generation and where you would fit each of those products?
Well, it's a good question because really, that first generation, because they're laying and getting down into that whorl, we've got to get the insecticide to the worms that are protected down in that whorl. So we need something, one, that's going to move fairly easily, but two, provide long residual control. And so that's really where we lead with our products Vantacor and Elevest. Because of that molecule that we have in that in those products, we really get long residual control, but also get some systemic movement in that tissue. Traditionally, we used a lot of pyrethroids, and they're just not quite as effective when we're dealing with that first generation pest because it's so protected down in that whorl. When we get to second generation, now we've got an insect pest that tends to be a little more exposed because that plant is more grown, it's full grown, but still they're going to burrow into that plant really quickly. So one, timing is really critical, but two, we want things that provide long residual, and that's really where Vantacor and Elevest shine because we're going to get that 3 weeks plus of residual that we need to protect that crop throughout that first or second generation, whichever timing we're timing our insecticide for. We really want to lead with the best product to give us the maximum performance for those high-value non-GMO acres.
Yeah, for sure. That's good comments, Gail. And I think it's really important to understand. You have to see it to believe it, right? To understand the difference in level of control that you get with those Elevest and Vantacor products over our typical pyrethroids. So today we hope you learned a little bit about European corn borer, some treatment practices. Anything else to add, Gail?
No, like I said, it's just timing is really critical. Get out in your fields and scout, and then talk to your local FMC rep and see which product they're going to recommend in which situation and how we can protect that crop that you're trying to grow on a day-to-day basis.
Thanks for talking corn borer with FMC.